this show because I'm
good.
so excited about how you're doing the lighting because this is so innovative.
We're
Uh,
trying to be, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's to achieve the effect. We don't have the luxury of a camera where you could show the audience where to look, and we have, especially the way we're doing the piece, where the audience isn't sitting traditionally and they're amongst and around the space. We need to direct their focus, like the film does with the shadows, and using lights like this and having all the actors being the ones manipulating them. We're able to get those, like the highlight just the eyes, or like she was saying for Vina, the red herring's face, and also create those angles and the shadows, which are very cool. No word.
I understand you worked with a lighting designer. Who was that
Yes.
person?
Amanda Ortmeyer.
How did you find her, and how did you come up with this idea of
Right.
using lights like
Well,
this? It's so innovative.
Yeah, Amanda and I, first of all, have been close friends for 9 years now, and but we actually haven't really worked together on anything. And I know her; she's the production manager now at the Exit Theater, and when Dan and I started talking about doing the piece together, I thought of Amanda almost right away, and I told Dan, I was like, no, she's the lady, this is the one who needs to do it, because we constantly talk about lights just for fun. She's the light. It's what we do.
That's what we do,
It's
you know.
exciting.
Theatrical people, this is what we do for fun.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
Let's talk about something really complicated and hard to do.
Every day.
And so we finally, I started talking about this project, and she immediately, you could kind of see the ears starting to perk up. And I said, we really don't want to do traditional lights. We'd really like to have the actors manipulate them as well, because it does have to do with the point of view. And so if it's done by a human as opposed to by a machine, then lighting will also affect your world, and also have to do, again, tying into expressionism. So she loved it, and so she attached her mind right to it, and
She was right. Our first meeting, especially for me, because I hadn't
Yes.
met her before, it was amazing. She got it right away. She was on the same page. She came with like a list of ideas,
Yeah,
and I
she was
loved
like a
every
book.
single one of them.
I want to do this and this and this and this, and we were going, yes,
And
yes,
honestly,
yes.
all of our designers have really been on that page, and they've gotten our concept right away and jumped on. It's
So
amazing.
it strikes me what sets this thing apart is that you're looking. You got innovative designs. It's a very human element that you've added back, and from listening to you describing the lighting odyssey that you went on, it reminds me a little bit of some of the things like with the restaged company with the actors playing their own musical instruments. And it seems like it's a question of bringing back the life, the humanity
Yeah.
into the performing arts.
Right.
Because so much of what we see now, like your Avatar and all that sort of stuff, is so CGI'd to
Right.
death.
Yeah.
And what is real and what is not. So now you're injecting this element back. Was that part of your game plan, or is it just how it naturally developed?
Well, for me, I think that's part of my philosophy, for lack of a better word, on theater in general. Having that element of truth to it, and even though it's such a heightened reality and surreal, having it come from a real place, and not pretending that the actors aren't manipulating lights, having it be part of it and part of everything, it does take it to that next level. It makes it more believable, and creates even more of a surreal experience.
Yeah, I think too. It's also, definitely for us. Well, the term hurly-burly, the idea of it is that you basically, it's a huge, everything gets thrown up into the air and then somehow settles down. And when it settled down, we have to figure out how to put all the pieces back together. So what we try and do, a lot of our theater, what I love about theater, and what Rik as well, a co-founder as well, what we like to do is work with what we have, as opposed to getting a whole bunch of money and creating a big budget, which we can't do anyways. But that's okay. Let's be honest. But it's actually what it does.
A small budget too.
Yeah. And it affords you even more opportunities though in the long run, because you have to really deal with the elements that you have, and talk to people and make friends with people and get yourself out into the world. And so it's very challenging, but at the same time, once the project is finished, it's very much your own.
Yeah. Speaking of budgets, you actually have a very innovative way. Describe how you're getting money for the show. I've actually put up a lower third that will allow our
awesome.
audience to.
Awesome. Yes.
Love that.
Yeah. The second line, the
Sorry. Can't see
Kickstarter.com.
my hand. That's okay.
Did I get it wrong?
It's like,
Yeah. Well, what we're doing right now, we have this program, and you can go onto this website, and you'll actually find clips of some of the behind the scenes at this when we're actually in the space, the rehearsals and so forth. And if it's something that you think is interesting, you can actually pledge some money. And if we work up to our goal of how much we'd like to make, then we actually get Kickstarter gives us all of that money. So we have not a lot more time. We have December 3rd is going to be our last day. And we're going to be closed off. So if this sounds like something that's intriguing, or if you want to find out more information, then be convinced, then you can check us out at Kickstarter.com.
And you do a search for Caligari, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so are you about halfway through your funding, or is
Yeah,
it something like it's an all or nothing, you do it all for love, and then suddenly at the December the 3rd, Kickstarter rolls up with a lovely big check, and yippee, your angels have come through.
That would be wonderful.
Yes.
Right now, it's gone off to a bit of a slower start than we had hoped, but I think the word it's taking a little bit longer for the word to get out there than we had hoped. So we're still waiting for some people to pick up on it a little bit more. And you guys can join in that fun as well.
So here's your chance to be an angel. Go to Kickstarter.com, search for Caligari, and give these really amazing people some money.
It'd be wonderful.
Thanks.
That would be lovely. Yes. So tell me about the performance space. It's rather intriguing because a lot of Caligari is set in a carnival, and you had to go searching for a carnival in San Francisco. Is how you described it to me.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, the cool thing is that actually, to add even more elements to it, is actually the piece doesn't originally take place in a carnival. It actually takes place in an asylum. Is the first scene, and then when he starts to tell a story, and as he tells the story, we see the carnival and we see these different worlds that he goes into. So we had to find, and we do site-specific work, which basically means that you do the piece in whatever environment the play is set in. So, for example, if you're doing a show in a cafe, you'd actually find a cafe and do the play there.
I see.
So we had to find a place that was an asylum, was a carnival, and was also a fantasy world.
Yeah, it would lend itself to this expressionism feel.
Yeah, so we had, it's a really difficult, what are we going to do?
But here you are in San Francisco.
Yeah,
So.
Yes,
At least we
exactly.
weren't in, middle of Nebraska.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we'd be out of luck there.
That's right. Luckily, we don't have viewers in Nebraska, so okay.
Not that there's anything wrong with
Love
Nebraska.
Nebraska. Wonderful place.
Lovely place, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
Originally we had thought about doing it actually at Laguna Hospital, which I don't know if you're...
Ooh, that is an amazing place. Those corridors go on forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was gorgeous. But
Yes.
then we thought doing a piece about insanity at Laguna Hospital might not be...
It
Not
was a
nice
very
for the
thin
patients.
line.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, and we certainly didn't want to be disrespectful in any way.
Right.
So then Rik Lopes found a gentleman by the name of Chukon, and he runs a space above Mr. S. Leather, which is a leather store, and above it they have an event space.
Hold on one second. Mr. S. Leather being a leather store has to be one of the larger understatements that has been on this program. It does
Correct.
not. Do they
Yeah.
sell luggage there? I don't know.
Be a little bit more specific.
Okay,
about
yeah,
that.
be a little more specific. Okay.
By leather, I mean.
Yes.
S&M equipment,
Right.
basically.
Okay.
So, anything I haven't spent a lot of time in the store, but anything from
Great store. I love it.
Okay, so-
gags, whips and chains, and so
Okay.
forth and so on.
Okay, so-
But what they also have is they have a room above it where they have all of their events, and it's also where they keep a lot of their cages.
Oh, wow, useful.
Yeah, it's funny. Obviously, their products that they sell and the event
Yes.
space that they use, they didn't have this in mind.
Right.
But it
A German
lends
expressionist
itself
film.
perfectly for it. I mean,
Yeah.
they kind of come from the same place, just
Yes.
went off in completely different directions.
Yeah.
And we're bringing it back together.
That sounds incredible.
Fantasy, identity.
Absolutely.
And you know, these cages are meant to confine and make it uncomfortable yet workable.
Workable and reveal the art.
Mhm.
So what does the audience? What can the audience expect to see as they come in on? Well, let's see. Let's first of all discuss when the show is actually running.
Definitely.
Okay. We actually have a gorgeous. Why don't you hold this up,
Sure.
please, Ron? Okay. We have a beautiful flyer, which is Caligari, and it runs on November
There we go.
18th, 19th, and 20th. The 20th is a gala night, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And it's also going to be on, I can't read this, the 2nd, 5th, 9th, and 10th.
Second, third.
2nd, 3rd, 9th, and 10th. So just, and those are Thursdays and Fridays,
Correct.
is that right?
Mhm.
So tell us, what can the audience expect to see as they come in, or of an evening?
Well, I think one of the first things that you'll see, I'm trying to think how much to reveal.
Yes, that's a good point.
But it is, when you first come in, it's going to be a sort of a stark, empty cement block with a few cages and some people in frozen positions and a few bulbs hanging from the ceiling that are lit. So it doesn't seem like there's very much. As the show progresses, we then build and build the world around so that the audience actually gets to start from square one, just as the character Francis starts from square one. It's almost like a sort of Don Quixote type feeling too, you know, as he tells us he's at first in this jail and it looks ugly, an ugly world, this awful world, and then he builds this dream world around it, and so we get to transformed and transfixed there.
Whoops. Carry on. We have a minute, by the way, for the live show, I should tell you.
Oh,
I'm so
wow.
sorry. Okay.
That one.
Very fast.
So that's basically what you're going to expect. Again, you know, I want to be careful about.
Don't reveal
How much
anything
research.
exciting. I mean, this sounds like an amazing production, actually. So it's going on. It's just these few extra nights on the gala evening. What can happen on the gala evening?
Well, we'll have first. What will happen is we have a live band who's coming, and they've actually written some pieces just for our show. And then we're also afterwards, after the show, we'll have wine and some hors d'oeuvres, some nibblies, and a talk back with the cast. So we can talk about
Fabulous.
everything that you've seen.
And
If,
any questions?
any questions or all your
Oh,
questions?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Do people have to order tickets online, or is it? And where would they go? Is it the Kickstart,
Yeah.
or can we join the Hurly Burly?
Join the Hurly Burly. We'll have a link.
Okay.
It's also off of
We can
Brown
yeah.
Paper Tickets.
So you can go to brownpapertickets.com as well and search Caligari. Or you can come to the show, but there's not a lot of, we have limited seating, so I would definitely recommend to get them in advance.
Okay, we're now in extra time, so on the
Really?
repeat, yes, we
Oh,
have,
shoot, okay.
that's good. You actually got it in perfectly well.
Oh,
Thank you.
wonderful.
Awesome.
Great. So we're now off
Speed it
the
up.
air, but on the repeats we're still live. So Caligari, what a fabulous show! I'm really excited about it. Are there plans on extending the performance if it gets popular, or how do you think it will go?
We'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, well, one thing that we'd really like to do, this is going to depend on ticket sales. As I was saying earlier, you know, we actually can only sell 35 tickets a night because they're walking around in a space. So
Right.
we need to have enough space. So what we'd like to do is, if we sell enough tickets, is to do a midnight showing. Because, you know,
I think
for
we
the
could sell
nature
that.
of the show and
That
so
would be
forth.
I didn't even
marvelous.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would be absolutely wonderful. Well, I'm going to thank you very much indeed for being on the show. It's been a fabulous show. Good luck. Break a leg.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
And
as
thank
they
you.
say.
Thank you. And see you next time on the program.